Hi, everybody. Welcome to Katie in the Morning and welcome to Friday. Monday will be 2 weeks away from CNA Fest. I mean, it's coming up so fast. But I did kind of want to take a break from the information on CNA Fest and bring you guys some important tips on how you can connect or make that connection between you and your residents. These are three very easy subjects. They're pretty much, what's the word I'm looking for? They're a level playing field no matter what path you're in, career wise, whether you're in nursing, whether you're in law enforcement, which you probably don't really want to connect with people in law enforcement. I'm not really sure you'd want to build a relationship with the people that you're arresting, but that's just my opinion. Maybe you do. I don't know. So, we're going to bring you three subjects today that are very, very easy ones to connect you with your residents. The first one, food. Everybody loves food. There are a couple ideas that you can use pertaining to food. Find out what their likes and dislikes are, and be an advocate for them at meal times. You know, sometimes the menu's coming out ahead of time, and they could be somebody that hates raw tomatoes. And if you know that they don't like them ahead of time, let the dietary department know so they can have a supplement for them during the mealtime. It's going to win you huge points with that resident, and the dietary department will also appreciate it because they won't be wasting that food if they're serving that stuff to the residents then have to throw away because nobody ate it. The second thing that you can do is to bring a snack or prepare a meal, especially in the dementia care units. Me and my coworker Jordan used to do this like every Friday. We'd bring in our own food and feed, because we worked in a locked memory care unit, and kind of treat them with a little special attention. There are a couple of guidelines that you're going to want to follow when you're bringing in a snack or a meal. The first one is to make sure that you're following the dietary orders. If they're low sodium, if they're a pureed diet, if they are lactose intolerant. Totally just missed my finger on that. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Lactose intolerant, diabetics especially. Make sure you're getting those orders ahead of time and preparing your food that would best fit each person, or a meal that would fit everybody. The second thing is to plan ahead. Pre-plan and inform everyone that's involved. Let the dietary department know. Let your director of nursing know, or your administrator know that you're planning on doing this. Let the family members know if they want to come join. Make it like a potluck style. It's always good to get those extra visitors in there and get that interaction between the residents and their family members or their loved ones. And they will be talking about it for months, if not years afterwards. You know, that the appreciation that they'll have for you kind of going above and beyond and treating their loved one with that special attention is second to none. I mean, I can remember, I'm going into story time now, but you guys will have to bear with me for a minute. In the same memory care unit, there was a group of about 6 of us that put on a family party. It was a beach party, and we supplied all the food. We supplied the cake and ice cream. We did a brown bag auction where the residents got Monopoly money, and they could bid on the brown bags. They each got $50 to bid. Family members got the same thing. They didn't know what was in the bags until after they'd already bought it. Some people had lotion in their bags. Some people had a roll of toilet paper in their bags. Some had t-shirts. Some had gift cards to local restaurants. Some of them even had cash, like real, actual cash. But nobody knew what they were buying until after they'd already bid on it with their Monopoly money. But 3 years later, fast forward 3 years, one of our patients in the dementia care unit who could not remember anything constantly talked about this party that we had out in the gazebo area, the fenced in gazebo area. So that was just something that really impacted her life. It was something that she was able to remember, and she was connecting that activity to the faces of the people that were taking care of her. And it really made her care a whole lot easier to handle. So food is the first subject that definitely connects people to other people. And the second one is also another very common one, and that is pets. Pets and animals, it's an unconditional love in its very best form. All they expect from us is love and gratitude. And Gary's doing something kitty wampus with the screen, just threw me off. But bringing your pets in, you know, sharing pictures with them, asking them if you've had that conversation with them before, and know that they're an animal lover, that they grew up with dogs, or they had cattle on their farm. Horses is another big one that people connect with, especially from that generation. That's when tractors were just being introduced as a mainstream industry tool. Before that, they used horses. I mean, it's something that they're not just a property of ownership. They're a companion. They're something that they connect with. Show pictures or visit on the off hours with your pets if it's something that is appropriate for the care scene. Home health care, you might want to check into a little bit beforehand before you do something like that. I know a lot of people probably wouldn't want strange dogs, cats, birds, hamsters, gerbils, ferrets, rabbits, whatever coming into their home, but some of them might, and then the third thing you could do is plan a pet show. Ask the administrator or the activities department if you guys can plan a pet show. Have local businesses sponsor it. There doesn't necessarily have to be a winner, but just a show to get the residents involved with the grooming process, watching the show in itself. You could do like a funny little photo booth, photo booth. There's plenty of activities. You can go absolutely wild with pets. And then the last one is actually a pretty common one, which I think is amazing. Ask the local animal shelter to stop by and show off the pets that they have up for adoption. You'll never know who, whether it's a daughter, granddaughter, administrator, activities, somebody may be looking for a pet. They may have lost one, and that could be their opportunity to adopt and care for an animal that has nobody else. It's also a very easy way. A lot of residents feel that like abandonment feeling when they get put into a nursing setting. And by connecting that with an animal who's in a shelter, that's their common ground. They're feeling the same feelings of loneliness and abandonment as those animals are. So you can see some very, very strong connections there as well. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about that third subject that I promised you. Welcome back to Katie in the Morning. Today we're talking about 3 easy subjects to connect you and your residents and kind of make that conversation happen. We talked about food, which is the big one. We talked about pets, and now we're going to talk about babies. This is probably the most generalized, easy topic to talk about with your residents, because they're going to ask you at some point or another. They're going to ask you, especially you moms that are going through a pregnancy and working at the same time. They're going to ask you a million questions during this pregnancy. What do you do? Do you know what you're having? Have you picked out any names? Do you have a theme for your nursery? And they are waiting and anticipating that birth of your child just as much as you are. You're in there every day interacting with them. They're seeing the progress and the development that you're making. If it's a new resident coming in, ask them about their family history. Ask them to show you pictures, tell them stories about your kids, make that connection, because moms, we all have the same experiences. The terrible twos are there for everybody. The birthing process, whether you have vaginal, C-section, everybody goes through it. If you're a mom, you've gone through it. The difficulties, watching your child try to crawl for the first time, sit up for the first time. Those are experiences that you can share with your residents, and go to work and say, hey, I just watched Brock shimmy up the wall with nothing around him. That's one of my experiences that I'd share. My 3-year-old, my 2-year-old are absolutely insanely strong. Like there can be nothing around them, and they can climb right up the wall. But those are the kind of the happy times that you can share with your residents. You can ask to put on like a baby show, not necessarily a beauty contest or the cutest baby contest, but something along those lines where you bring the kids in, you dress them up, give the residents the opportunity to take pictures with them. It's a souvenir type thing, memorabilia that they can keep in their rooms. And a lot of residents, this one I didn't put on the slideshow, and I just thought about it off the top of my head, but a lot of the female residents, when they were stay-at-home moms, quilting was a huge thing for them. So you could plan like a project where you coordinate with the activities department, bring in those old onesies or those old sleepers, cut them out, and have a quilting class once a week. And that'd be a memorabilia that you can hang on the wall for your residents of some of the onesies and the smaller clothes or the memorabilia that you brought from home of your kids. It'd be something they'd be proud of. It'd be something that you could talk about for years after, kind of frame it, put it on the wall, and then 10 years later, when a new resident comes in, they say, what's that? Well, our residents made that. That's clothes from the staff from their babies that they put together that were born in the year of 2018. There's so many things that you can do that relates babies to children. The other thing that you can do is bring in pictures of your kids and compare them to their kids. The times have changed. If you look back in like the 1920s or the 1910s, the black and white photos, kids have changed. The frame of the human body has changed. The hairstyles, the outfits that you put on them. It'd be cool to see somebody put a collage together of like 1900 to 2018 pictures of, from the black and white all the way up to Instagram nowadays, or what is it? Snapchat, that you can put all the extra little features in and like make their eyes big and their mouths shrink and crowns on them or whatever. But it'd be interesting to see somebody do that, and I know it'd be a lot of fun for the residents to help with that as well. I thank you guys all for joining me. I will see you right back here on Monday when we tackle the barriers that are in communication. Until then, have a good weekend.